Good afternoon, Big Brother fans. It is Saturday, August 24th. We are at approximately 4 p.m. Big Brother time, and it is day 40 in the Big Brother house. So we're creeping up on the halfway point. 5 more days to the halfway point. So we're going to hit halfway this coming week. The house guests have had their power veto competition now. So since I talked to you last, I believe nominations were getting ready to come through, but they hadn't. They did come through. It was Cam and Tucker who volunteered. And, Mackenzie. Yes, sorry. Had a brief moment of loss of consciousness. Remember, Takor is head of household. She nominated Tucker because he volunteered. He said, you can put me up if you want to. And then he put up Mackenzie and Cam. So then this morning they got up, they had the, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not. So they had their AI instigator moment. And the AI instigator yesterday, it turns out they slept into like 11 o'clock or something, and that's why the feeds were down for so long. That came out later. That Big Brother got him up with the AI instigator, let him sleep in. The nominations happened. So it was a bit of a weird night or a bit of a weird day, and then the on and off with the AI instigator, which the AI instigator mentioned about Rubina and Tucker holding hands. At least that's what we gathered from it. May have mentioned the word showmance or something. And that really upset Rubina. Again, I am not sure who the instigator is, whether it's Joseph or Tucker. I think it's one of those two, though. I thought I was pretty locked in on Tucker, but then people convinced me that it might be Joseph, so I'm kind of still up in the air. But either way, the comments about the showmance about holding hands upset Rubina. She was a crying mess off and on last night. And so the instigator did have a bit of an effect there. Did it change the game? I don't know. But it did happen. And then, so we fast forward overnight. Honestly, I didn't look to see if I missed anything overnight. I don't even think. I think I got up this morning, and when I got up this morning, the house guests got up at I was up for a while, I guess, but the house guests got their wake-up call about 7:30 a.m., so 10:30 Big Brother time. No, I was up long before that, but that's when I first sat down and started looking at the feeds. I think, actually, you know what I was doing? I was watching New Zealand Traders, the Traders New Zealand, and I had the camera up and I had the feeds up in the other corner of the computer in case something changed, and suddenly they went to fish, and I'm like, oh, they're getting them up early. So they got up early, 7:30, which it seems like on weekends they get up at early, or at least Saturdays they get up early anyway. So they got up, they finally did their power veto draw for players, and Cameron got to pick. He picked Joseph, which Joseph commented later on, I think to Leah, that he thinks, or it might have been, I don't remember who it was, it doesn't matter. He was making the comment that he thought Joseph might have picked him because he hasn't done well in competitions, but he said neither has Cam, so whatever, I'll take it as a compliment. And so Joseph got picked again to play, and then it turned out Angela was the other player. We don't know if her name got drawn or if she got picked, but either way, Angela was the extra player. So they've got the 3 nominees, the head of household, Takor, and then Joseph and Angela playing. And then we waited. And we waited. And we waited. And the feeds never went down. The one thing we did hear was a comment, which I tweeted about, that they talked about what songs they got to play. So, I know, again, pardon me for repeating, but for those of you that know this, every morning, Big Brother plays sometimes 1, 2, 3 songs for the house guests as kind of their wake-up call. And the feeds are down for that period of time. And sometimes there's perceived meaning in the songs they play, at least by us, if not by the house guests, and sometimes by the house guests. And they listed, they commented on the songs that were played this morning, and the songs were Kokomo, which I assume is the Beatles' version of Kokomo. They wrote it, but it's the song Kokomo. And then they said a Beatles song, but they didn't say the name. And then they said Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, right? Now, I heard Bad Romance and I thought, oh, are they trying to make a comment to Rubina? Getting all worked up? That was one of the comments that came out last night. I think it was Rubina telling Chemo that she thinks that Tucker could be the one, kind of a thing. So that was the thing that happened last night that I saw. So Rubina's getting quite invested in Tucker. And people were speculating, I wonder if Chemo's going to pass that on to Tucker, like, dude, be careful, she's getting invested. But the song was Bad Romance. It kind of reminded me of previous times when, I'm not saying that they did play that intentionally to be like a thing to comment on Rubina, but it reminded me of the time, the most blatant version of Big Brother playing a song that was directly pointed at a house guest. And we're going to go down this road for just a second. But let me get to this first. We'll go back to that, and we'll tell you what's going on in the house, right? I'll spare those of you that don't want to hear the long story of that, but we're going to get to it in a second. So, the house guests, the feeds finally went down for the Power Veto competition. They came back just a little bit ago, and when they came back, it turned out it's some version of the prize and punishment veto, right? We don't know the details. It was in the backyard. It was very hot. And because the house was like, it would have been funner if it wasn't so hot. And the first thing we catch is, or the first thing I caught was Cam saying, Angela was congratulating him, and he said, thanks, I needed a win. I was starting to get in my own head. So Cam was the won the Power Veto. Okay, well, that's the number one thing. So Cam is going to use the Power Veto on himself, right? So that means that Takor's going to have to come up with another nomination, and we can think about that. We got until Monday to figure that out, so let's not worry about that right now. Let's go on with the other things. The other things were, Cam then said, we'll help you clean up the backyard. And Angela's response was, I don't think you're allowed to. That immediately set off the alarms in my head of, prize punishment. Angela has a punishment. And I missed this, that it happened actually right before the talk to Cam, was people asking MJ about her thing. And it turns out that MJ, and I didn't hear the Hawaiian part, but apparently MJ won a trip to Hawaii. She doesn't know if it's a weekend or if it's a 5-day thing. She's taking her mom. Those are all the bits I heard. I just didn't realize what they were talking about. So MJ won a trip. And then we heard them also talking about the fact that Joseph has a punishment, has a 24 hours of solitary, it sounds like. 24 hours of being alone kind of a thing. And everyone's like, oh, well, Joseph will love that. To which Quinn was kind of like, I don't know. I think he's faking. I don't think he's going to be happy. And then another thing that happened was I heard, I'm pretty sure it was Cam, talking to someone in the background. I couldn't hear who he was talking to or what, but he was saying, I think is it going to be like have-nots? Like, was he talking to, I don't know who he was talking to, but I mean, being like have-nots sounds like a punishment, and it doesn't sound like anything else unless he was talking to Joseph and it was like the have-not room. I don't know, but that is what, those are all the bits and pieces that we picked up. And then the feeds went down again for a little bit, and then they came back, and there apparently had been another instance of AI instigator. This time, the instigator, it was, so the first one that we knew about was Quinn. It was Quinn's persona in the box saying the things. This time it was apparently Rubina, because Rubina was commenting that she didn't think it sounded like her, and Quinn's kind of like, yeah, it sounded more like if you were reading announcements or something. So it was Rubina, and the comments, the one that I really caught was about being a twerking instructor, and I thought it was directed at Angela. Some people thought it was directed at MJ, but either way, the comments that came out of this, the house guests were going down them like a checklist. Like this was said, almost like they're trying to memorize it because I think they think it's going to be a quiz at the end. So they're not being offended by any of this. I think the biggest offense by this was Rubina's. I think now going forward, don't care. We're just memorizing it. It doesn't matter. I don't even know. I don't know. They are still speculating on who the instigator is because I think MJ is proposing that it's Angela. Pretty sure that's who she's pushing, because she was talking to Cam and Tucker in the bathroom, and she was really going off on, like, she always is asking questions and she doesn't want to talk about it now, and I just think and I thought, okay, MJ thinks it's Angela. I'm pretty sure Angela's also, or MJ's also kind of really annoyed with Angela right now, so I could see her wanting to put things on Angela. That's neither here nor there. Point is, the house guests are not being that bothered by the instigator at this point now. Now it's become just a thing that they think they have to memorize. So it was interesting the first time, and now it's just a game for them. All right, so that's what's gone on. What was funny is Big Brother actually put out on Instagram that the feeds were going to be down for a long time because they were playing a classic PoV competition. So I was 30 seconds away from clicking a post that I had ready to go saying, I think the feeds will be off until after Sunday's show. And then, boom, the feeds were coming back. So I almost had to retract something. I had this whole post ready to go. And, so feeds are back. We're seeing the house guests. We know who won the power veto. Now we just got to wait for the meeting, see who Takor decides she's going to put up. They'll talk about this for the next day and a half, so I'm not going to worry about it. Back to my story. My story is about the time that Big Brother really played a song directly pointing at a house guest, and we think production was really ticked off at the house guest in a way. At least the house guests certainly thought they were. So this goes back 19 years. I think it was August 15th, I think was the actual date, because I looked it up and I found a post related to it. I really was just kind of like curious, is that what happened? I was going to tweet about it, and I was like, I need to make sure I'm not imagining this, because I could be wrong. I was like, so I Googled it, and I find this I found a couple of articles written about the whole thing, and then I find a huge long post about the entire day on Joker's updates, and so I actually tweeted that out. But what the backstory on this is it was after the pressure cooker competition. Speaking of pressure cooker, since that was a big thing last year, after the pressure cooker competition, that week, Jennifer was head of household, and she promised to Kesar that he was safe. Then they did the power veto competition, and I'd have to go back and look, but the point is, the power veto was won. In theory, I think they were told that she was going to put up James. James was going to be the target, or however it was going to work, and I'm sorry, I don't remember, and I'd have to go look at it. But the point is, Jennifer mixed it up, which those of you that know anything know that's what happened. Jennifer instead put up Kesar, and Kesar ended up getting voted out again. He came back in the house and got voted right back out. Jennifer broke her word that he would be safe, and he got voted out. And it came down to this power veto meeting because everybody knew that she was going to put Kesar up, or everybody on her side of the house knew that. And, of course, the diary room suspected it. The production suspected it or knew it. And so the morning of the power veto ceremony, and again, they probably played multiple songs then too, but one of the songs they played was a song by a band called Garbage called Stupid Girl. And you can Google Stupid Girl, Big Brother 6, Jen, and you will find articles about this, links about this, because it is still out there in the world today. And this is how Jen last year talked about, if you recall, some of you may recall, how much hate she got and how hated she was for getting rid of Kesar after promising him safety. This is that moment. This is where she did it. But she had decided this is what she was going to do. And you knew that production did not want her to do this, because they basically engineered it to get Kesar back in the house. They gave the public a chance to vote someone back in, and they knew that Kesar would get voted back in, and it turned around and he went right back out the house. And production was ticked off that they were getting rid of their golden guy, their fan favorite Kesar. She was doing this, and she just didn't care. She's like, this is about a game. This is about me, and I know good TV, and you don't know good TV. And they would, and if you read this recap on Jokers that I linked to, you see that they came over and said, Jennifer, please put on your microphone. And she's like flipping on the bird saying, no, I don't have to. She said they would ask her questions in the diary room. She said, nope, I'm not telling you. Just stuff like that. It was nasty and mean, and Oh my gosh. And again, they played a song for the entire house, which was what really upset her, called Stupid Girl, because she's like, they probably know now what I'm doing because you played that song. Because back at the end of the day, it did seem they played a lot more songs that would kind of give clues to house guests and stuff, or kind of imply things to house guests. So this was just the most blatant one. And it was quite a thing. So I tweeted about it today, when the feeds were down, or I tweeted about it this morning. That was this morning before the feeds went down. I tweeted it out because I was kind of like, I'd gone down this rabbit hole, and I decided to pull some people with me. So there you go. You got an extra long Saturday podcast from me, and I'll sign off. I don't know if I'll do one tomorrow. We'll see. I might. But I promise you I try to do at least one a weekend to get you up to date on what's going on with the Power Veto. And now you know. Tucker's lost his first competition that he's been in like 5 or something. I don't know what it was. Mike Bloom tweeted out the stat, but I don't remember right now. So, that was a thing. We do not know yet if Takor has any kind of a prize or a punishment, or Tucker has any kind of a prize or punishment. At least I don't know as of me recording this. No one had figured it out yet. It may be figured out by now, and it probably will be figured out within an hour or two, even if it hadn't. They'll talk about it, and chances are somebody else won at least one prize. I don't know. I mean, there could be like 4 punishments and 2 prizes. So probably Takor or Tucker actually got a prize. But I'll let you know online when I find out, or tell you the next time I do one of these, as long as I remember. There we go, folks. Happy Saturday. Thank you to all my supporters, my patrons. Thank you to those of you that listen to all those commercials. Thank you to anybody out there who just shares my tweets, or retweets my tweets, or gets their friends to follow me, or whatever you do to support me, or any other Big Brother person that is out there trying to get you information. It's appreciated. That's what makes us want to carry on. When we feel like no one acknowledges what we're doing, it kind of, when things get tough, it's like, does anybody care? And just somebody saying, thank you so much, I appreciate that. And that's the other thing. You don't have to. I mean, it's great. I love it. It does keep me motivated for sure. The people that are patrons, the people that, the little bit of that I get off of Spreaker, all those kind of things, that definitely is something that keeps me more like, okay, I'll keep doing this, because I can do a little bit of fun stuff on my own with that, or take my wife out to dinner, or whatever it works out to be. But still, there are lots of people out there that can't afford that stuff. That it's you can afford it. You can afford enough for the internet so that you can watch the feeds, and that's your entertainment, and listening to me is your entertainment, or reading me. But just a thank you, that's great too. It means a lot. It really does. It's very cool. So, anyways, all right, now I'm done. Goodbye. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you all maybe tomorrow. Maybe if not tomorrow, then I'm definitely on Monday. All right. Be well. Bye-bye.